Hello folks, and welcome to the FTR Wide Open Pro Series here in Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where we are kicking off race number 3 of about a 12 race season, as these drivers are getting ready to take on what is called a pretty tough track. I'm Dylan Steinkruger, alongside me Jeremy and Steve Zabo up here in the booth, along with Triffin Davis down giving us his stats every once in a while. Currently the drivers are in qualifying and they're getting ready to go into happy hour. We're here to bring you all 94 laps of the race. I hope you enjoy our coverage, and we're going to give you a little pre-race before we get going. All of the drivers up here have done a little testing. Before we get started, Steve Zabo, what do you think is going to be the hardest part about this race and the racing?
Well, in practice, the setup was pretty good. It was free on exit. It was a little tight in the entrance, though, of each corner of both 1 and 3, and I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for these guys to get a hold of, not letting their cars drift up into the wall, because this track is kind of fickle. It's got so much grip on entrance, unless you let go of the throttle a little too much, and then it just takes your car and drifts it straight up to the wall. So I think the hardest part of that, based on what I found in practice, is just holding your line. And if you're in double file or even 3-wide racing at some points after a restart, it's definitely going to be a challenge for these guys to make sure they hold their line and not hit each other.
Well, I think that the drivers have done a good job so far handling with the way the track has changed over the weekend. There has been some drivers complaining about bottoming out problems entering the corner, and as Steve said, that the car really can get tight in the corner, and you know, it's going to be difficult racing in a pack here early on in the race and possibly late in the race if we have a late restart. Over to you, Steve.
I'll take it from there. Well, I think the toughest part for me for going out and practice, I think that you're going to see some problems if we have some green flag pit stops. It's going to be these guys getting off a pit road. It's very slick getting on and it's very slick getting off, and I think somebody's bound to lose it somewhere in there. So on to last week's race at California Auto Club Speedway. Wow, folks, it was controversial race. There was a handful of cautions, 8 cautions for about 27 laps. Of the 14 cars, I believe, that started, only 5 of them finished. What are some of the problems that you saw in that race, Steve Zabo?
Well, that's actually not tragically the first time that's happened to this series. Before my 3-week vacation from Full Throttle Racing as a driver, that actually happened a little too often. I remember there was a race last season at Pocono. I finished second and I had half a transmission. There was a race at Phoenix near the end of the season where I finished third, and I was actually the last car running, and I got third because of a bad pit stop. And I think one of the reasons why that's happening is it's just lack of common sense. A lot of these guys, they're young, they haven't driven for real yet, and they think that since it's only a game, you can do whatever the hell you want. But what they don't realize is there are a couple of people in here, and it's a shame that it's really not all of them, but there are a couple of people in here who are trying to contend for a championship here at the Wide Open Pro Series, and they start affecting the outcome of these races just because they can't use their heads. I'm not going to mention any names, but before I withdrew from this race, before I withdrew my number 66 Toyota out of this race, during practice, when I was out on the track, I noticed there were a lot of guys just overdriving every corner, hitting each other. There were actually a couple very nasty flips in practice, so I'm not totally sure what to expect, because last time I checked, Vegas was a little bit deceiving on how hard it really is, and quite frankly, I think it's harder than California. It's tighter, it's smaller, and it is faster. Believe it or not, there's so much more banking. It is faster in California, so I think we should look out for a little trouble there.
Thank you, Steve. I think it's about time for the TacoBell.com trivia question. What sponsor was Joe Nemechek's car in the 1995 campaign? Was it Army, Fastenal, Carl's Jr., or McDonald's? If you'd like to...
And if you'd like to enter that, you can go ahead and type it into the comment bar right here on this video. And that was just a little thing we put in there. We're going to have some of those that are going to pop up around the show. If you'd like an answer, just click on them and we'll give you the answer sometime, maybe next week or maybe later on in the show. We'll have to see. But after that California races, I think these guys are still in their drivers meeting. There were some changes that came apart from that league. Jeremy, you've read them.
No, sir.
What did you think of the changes to the league?
I think that the changes were good on one end and bad on one end. Some of the real changes were created off of one driver. I won't say the name, but I think that some of these rules could be good and some of them could be bad after this race, as we did have some real changes that could help and not so help in this league. But yeah, Steve, over to you.
I'd just like to talk a little bit about one of those changes specifically that you mentioned, Jeremy. Recently, the Full Throttle managers and administrators got together and revised their approval list for the Wide Open Pro Series. In case you're not familiar with Full Throttle racing in general, there are several different series that are run here. About every night there's a new race, or another series, I should say. But on Sunday is the Wide Open Pro Series, and these pro drivers are selected based on skill, cleanliness, attitude, and overall ability. And recently they revised the list a little bit. However, as many different drivers agree, it's kind of a split between who agree and who disagree. There are a few drivers on the list that many feel should not be on the list, and there are some on the not eligible list that should be able to drive in this series. And one key example of that, key example of somebody who should, in our opinion, be on the list is Ian Plash. He practiced with us today before he, like me, withdrew from the race. And he was fastest in the first practice session and was not allowed to race because he had not, apparently, according to the administrators, been around enough recently. Same situation with me. I recently came off a 3-week break from Full Throttle, but in the meantime I was driving iRacing and having fun with it, and I came back, I believe last Thursday was my first race back in the Nationwide Series, and I finished second. And then the next night I got fourth. And then this morning, the Sunday Short Track Series, Ian won the race. I finished fourth, but yet neither of us are pro drivers. And the same goes with Steinkruger too, Dylan. He's a good driver. He won a pro race a couple seasons ago, subbing for Cal Young, which actually cost me the championship, but that's beside the point. But what I really don't get how they judge these drivers, and quite frankly, if you ask me, I think their mindset was eliminate the competition. And I hate saying it, but I think that's what Brennan McGee and Hayden Rapog were working at.
Well, I think as this happy hour session winds down, what do you think, Dylan, what do you think this is going through these drivers' minds before this race?
Well, I think as these guys are getting ready, I think you've got to be worried about the speed of this track. These guys are barreling down these front stretch on this tiny little track. These straightaways, they are real small track. The pit road's sort of small, you know, there's a little bit more room than a short track on it. I think I'd be scared about going to the drive it in there just a tid too hard. It's gonna slide up and take a ton of people out, and you're gonna be feeling real bad. Those kind of wrecks hurt you not in just that race, but they hurt you all the way down the road, and that's what's really going through your mind. And as I think we're actually gonna we're gonna bring down a couple drivers here. I think the first one we got here, I think we're gonna bring down Kyle Young. We'll see if we can get him here. Kyle Young, this is Dylan Steinker. You're up in the booth. You got us?
I do, Dylan.
Alright, we're getting ready to go racing here. You're currently running 6th in the points. What is your mindset going into this race? That's what we were talking about. What's going through your mind right now about how you're going to race this entire race?
Oh, my mindset is just, you know, try to stay clean and get a top 5. You know, I'm not overly great at this track, so I just want to keep it clean, you know, lead a couple laps and get a nice top 5 finish out of this, and just to rack up some points, survive the night, and head off to Atlanta next week with a full head of steam and confidence booster.
Thank you, Kyle Young. As you know, to be honest with you, you are my spotlight driver for tonight's race, and I think that it's going to be a tight race to the end, and I hope to see you up front early in the race. And hopefully
We do too, Jeremy. Thank you.
Alright, folks, that was Kyle Young up here in the booth, and Kyle, we all wish you good luck in the race.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Alright, folks, our next driver is our in-race reporter, Steve Rada. He's going to be driving the number 88 Young Motorsports National Guard car. Let's see if we can get him. Steve Rada, we got you up in the booth. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Alright, we just got done talking to Kyle. So his mindset was to just get in there, get a good head start, have good momentum going into Atlanta. What is going through your mind right now going into this race?
Finishing top 5, do good, and show my new car owner how can I go.
Alright, I think Tacos has something he wants to ask you.
Hey, Steve, it's Steve. I have a question for you. We were talking up here a little earlier about what we thought as drivers as what was going to be the toughest challenge about not only the track but the race itself. What do you think is going to be the hardest part to overcome throughout this 94 lap?
Me, I think it's going to be both. With drivers don't know how to race this track and still trying to learn, and with the track just want to push. Yeah, I think it's going to be a low line fest all. I think it's going to be a low line fest the whole day.
Yeah, I agree. So good luck to you, Steve.
Well, as we are about to start the race, they are in their cars. They're about to start their engines, and we can't wait to see this race. So while they get their cars ready, and we'll be right back.
Alright, welcome back. Now let's get down to Triffin Davis, who's giving the starting command for the race.
Alright, thank you, crap. Well, anyways, gentlemen, start your engine.
As the engines are fired here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Wide Open Pro Series, let's go over to Steve for our last thoughts here before the race starts.
Hey, thanks. I want to take a look at one driver in this driver for the race tonight. Check out the number 14 Future Shop Chevy of Speedy Motorsports. This is the driver owner of Sonny Tallman. Recently, today, I signed a contract with him. He's going to be my owner in all series, including the Pro Series, once I get approved, and the Full Throttle Race of Champions, which is the IROC series coming up, which is starting tomorrow night. I want to take a look at him. He and I were working on a little bit of a line issue earlier in practice, and I think he learned a lot in practice from both of us. So look for him to get up to the field. He's starting in the back, but so are a lot of good guys. So I think it's going to be a good way.
Thank you. And as the pace car is about to pull off the truck here, we're getting ready for some good hard racing. As I believe the pace car is off. I think we're going to be ready. Be ready. Hang on. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing here at Las Vegas, boys!
Adam Burton got a great start. It looks like he's going to jump out to the lead. He's going to be able to keep that low line, which, as we're talking about, is so crucial in this track.
By the way, folks, we didn't mention it, but Adam Burton has a
trouble.
spin-off. That's Joe Connolly. It looks like
Oh, we got a big wreck here on the...
Joe Connolly's hard into the bottom wall. It looks like he has some nice rear end damage to that. Let's see if we can flatten the tires.
You know what? Looking at it, I saw it live because I had an eye on the 30. It looked like he got up high and got into those marbles up there, that loose part of the track, and just spun it up on his own. Unfortunately, hit the one car. It's a shame. It's the first lap of a very long race, and there's two good drivers that are already eliminated. Looks like this is going to be just like California.
Yeah, as we saw, he hit the wall pretty hard, I believe. He's got some major damage, it looks like.
It looks like DK saying he has some engine damage. We kind of feel bad for DK. He kind of got involved in that. DK's racing racing, and last week he was actually the winner of California, so it looks like bad luck for the winner of last week's race, along with Joe Connolly, who's also the front runner in the last couple of races.
Yeah, Joe Connolly's another one of those owner-driver combinations. He's got his own team with a couple of other guys in the field driving for him, but he owns that car. So that lap 1 wreck is really going to hurt him. And I believe the one car, DKRF, just wrecked himself going into the pits too, so he's got a couple problems he's going to have to deal with.
Yeah, I also saw that.
Well, look at that 88 as he is pulling the 17 here through 3 and 4.
And the yellow flag actually never came out for that. NASCAR deemed that wreck as it was in the backstretch. They went down. There's no debris that came off the car, so they went ahead and they kept racing.
And the 88's going, or excuse me, the 88 just got passed by the 17 on the inside groove. Steve, what do you think about that?
Well, that's what we talked about. The inside groove is so crucial. It's probably where the majority of the passing is going to happen. The only time today I can really see an outside pass happening is either if somebody gets into some trouble, gets a little loose on the bottom of the track, or if the guy on the bottom's on pretty old tires and the guy up top has fresh rubber. That's the only time I really see outside lane passing going to occur today. As we see the 5 car, Joe Connolly, going a lap down.
Yeah, Dylan, what do you think about the outside groove? Do you think any cars will be able to make any passes late in the race up there if it's a crucial time in the race?
I don't think anybody got really long run it, but I think it's going to come down to the tire wear on the cars. If you're running against a car with a ton of tire wear, or 2 cars with a ton of tire wear, of course the car is going to be there. You're going to be able to get down there, and you're going to be able to go a little bit faster. It's probably going to be a little bit harder hold your line on the top. The car really slides up driving into those cars. And it gets really dangerous when you get really close to that wall. But if you have fresh tires, it's going to depend on what your driving style is. If you like driving up there, I could see maybe sticking up there for a while. But it's just going to depend on those crucial factors of tire wear.
Now I have a question for you guys. As we see here, they continue this actually a pretty good green run here. We're almost a tenth of the way through the race. Get back on the 5 car for just a moment. Joe Connolly, he's only 1 lap down because he has not made a pit stop yet to fix that car. He is by no means out of this race. If he gets a quick caution coming up here shortly, he could get the lucky dog. How hard is it to drive a damaged car around this place?
with the aerodynamics, especially here at Las Vegas, it becomes, I don't think it hurts you a ton with the game. I don't think the game works a ton around the aerodynamic damage, looseness, tightness model, but I think it's really going to slow him down. And one thing you risk if he has a lot of engine damage is that engine just completely shutting off. As you now see, one of the other persons involved in that wreck, DK, he's back down pit road. But I think Joe Connolly has a great chance if he gets a quick caution here. He gets his lap back, and even if he doesn't get his lap back, he can get the wave around eventually.
Yeah, that McDonald's Impala does not look like it's gonna be compatible to win this race anymore. Let's move up toward the tail end of that front pack. You think the battling like this early on is going to cause another wreck that could take some competitive drivers out of this race? Like the 72?
I think. Oh, good.
Oh, thanks. I think the safest place to be in one of these kind of tracks, I think the safest place to be is way out front. Away from these wrecks, either way out front or way in the back where nobody can touch you. You see those guys are racing side by side. It takes one person's dumb move to ruin your entire race. So I think you got to be somewhere where you feel comfortable at, and if that's in the middle of the pack, then I think you got to be there. But if you think you're gonna run up and kill somebody, then I think you should be dropping back or being out front.
Well, as that 30, or excuse me, as that 30 car just keeps pulling away from the 94, I think that this track's just going to get tighter and tighter the longer the run. I mean, what about you, Steve? What do you think about that?
Well, it's funny you mentioned where do you think the safest place to be is, because I think we can all agree that at least in this first run right now, the 30 car of Adam Burton, he is the class of the field. Because he's continuing to pull out his lead even about 15 laps in. We're approaching the 15th lap of this race. But there are a couple stages throughout the run where I think the field is most vulnerable to an accident. First of all, at the beginning of a run, if we get a yellow here and we get everybody pits, gets fresh tires, they're all golden. They think they're invincible when you're on fresh tires. That would be one of the stages of the race where I think the highest number of cautions could occur, because you got so many people that with that invincibility feeling that they think they can go wherever they want when they really can't. As we mentioned about the lack of grip in the high side. Also, as we see the 71 car, Neil Froelich, he just pounded the wall in that TaxSlayer.com Chevrolet for TRG Motorsports. As we approach the latter stages of some of these runs where the tires really start to drop off, and they get really tight, really hard to keep on the bottom and to hold the line, I think that's when the field's going to be most vulnerable to yellows. And also, along with that, later in the run where you get some lap traffic, these guys are going to be very desperate to stay on the lead lap. Guys like my spotlight driver, Sonny Tallman, he's dropping back considerably as we got a pass for the lead here. Looks like Brennan McGee's going for the lead.
Yep, that was a nice pass there on the bottom. I don't think the 30 is going to really push the issue here early on in the race. I think he's just going to see how his car's going to handle here early in the race, and then maybe about halfway through start to take it a little bit more. Dylan, do you think that was a little aggressive early on of diving it to the bottom of the racetrack?
I think it was a little aggressive. You've got to make a move somewhere, especially when you want the position as bad as I'm sure he does. We just gotten word from down in the garage, I believe, that we have had the first car retired. The number 1 car, I believe, of DKRF and Hating Racing, the McDonald's sponsored car, he has officially retired from the race, and we're gonna go ahead and give him an interview. So DK, can you hear us?
I think he might just be really frustrated over the result of this race, getting taken out on the first lap.
Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get a response from him, but as we continue to look at this battle for the lead here, it's just, I can't believe they're still running competitive lap times. I mean, we're 19 laps into this race. I would think the times would have dropped off just a little bit right now, but it's still staying about the same pace here, and I just can't help but think that in a few laps that these times are really going to start falling off.
Well, they are falling off actually considerably. Brennan McGee just ran a 39.314. The fastest lap in practice on fresh tires was a 29.5, so that's about 0.8 of a second that 20-lap-old tires are dropping off. So there is a little bit of a drop-off. It's noticeable.
Yep, and these guys are going to be nearing pit stops anytime soon. And I didn't think we mentioned it earlier, but we give the Budweiser Pull Award out to Adam Burton. He ran 28.905, which was over a tenth faster than anybody else. So we give credit to him as he got to lead quite a few laps at the beginning. As now Flyer 2259 is your leader.
Well, I just saw that pass, but I'm looking at the 99 of Kyle Young, my spotlight driver, and I'm watching him, and his last lap is 0.4 of a second off those top two, and I don't know if he must be struggling with his car trying to find a good line, because he's pulled away from that pack behind him, but he's in position 3. He's just not anywhere close to the lap times that those top two cars are running.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the crew chiefs are saying that around 8 more laps or so, these guys are going to have to be planning to make their pit stop. As you got to have a plan going in here. You're going to get tires, 2 tires, hope for a caution, maybe just fuel. That's a risky strategy, but if you want to lead some laps and get some 5 bonus points, it's a good one.
I think I just saw the 30 scrape the wall off of 4 there. I don't know if it came very close if he didn't.
Yeah, looking at his right side, I don't think he has much damage, though. He should be able to continue. He's actually closing the gap on McGee. But it's funny you mention what your fuel and tire strategy is going to be. I think right now you have to take 4 if you're coming in, as we see a pass or a lead brewing here. I think you have to take 4. If you're under green, you're just going to get killed if you take 2. It'd be too much of a waste.
Yeah, as you see, that 30 just opened up a nice pass in turn 3 and 4, and now he's pulling that 94 as of he's just pulling him down the backstretch. I think he's the 94 maybe wore out his tires, and maybe he's just gonna take it easy, or is he gonna dive it back in here? And he's gonna make a move to the inside, but it won't work. Wow, he's just he's making it stick, and here he comes with a good run off of 4, and he's gonna make the pass at the line.
I think Adam Burton, the 30, had to lift a little bit coming off of 4 to avoid hitting that wall like we thought he did a few laps ago. So that was a smart move. You know, 1 pass. You still have almost 70 laps left in this race. He'll be fine.
Yeah, Adam's been pushing up quite a bit lately. What do you think that's attributed to? Is that just the tires heating up, or is that more the tires wearing out? Or is it more of a combination?
A little bit of both. Probably. Cold tires are definitely fast here. Not ice cold. Probably about a lap or 2 is the prime, like qualifying times. But these tires wear out so much. This track is just so grippy that it'll eat the tires right up. As we see leaders continuing to be the same.
Joe Connolly is coming in for a pit stop.
Yeah, you'll see he's about to go another lap down too, so he probably figures, hey, I'm not going to get back on the lead laps, just ride around for some points. It's a good idea.
And we'll do a quick pit stop to see how hard it is to get down pit road here, as he looks like he's going to really slow down and be safe down pit road. He doesn't want to make anything worse than it is, and it looks like he's going to come down here, and he's going to come all the way down pit road into a stop. It looks like he's going to take 4 tires and a lot of damage repair here.
Yep, pit road speed is about 45, so it's a very slow pit lane for how fast these cars are going around the track. So you gotta be careful getting out there that you don't spin out. You gotta be careful going out there you don't spin the tires and spin out as well.
Yeah, you see the crew.
I'm watching it in the back here. We got a good battle heating up for 6th place. We got the 71 of Neil Froelich and the 88 of Steve Rada. Rada just made the pass, so he's going to take over P6. I think Froelich's car is a little damaged, though, so that could be why.
Yeah, I just, oh, excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah, Dan Monroe back there, he just made a great pass on Kyle Young. He goes right underneath him. He's gonna pass that number 93. You don't know Quack car, so we'll see how Dan's a very good driver, and he's been running well these last couple races, and I think he's gonna get a good finish here today.
Yeah, oh, excuse me, but yeah, as you see Kyle Young, he's just pulling right back up on that 72 off of turn 2. I could see that he's probably wanting to stay toward the front of the pack so he doesn't get wrecked late in the race or even early in the race, but as we're coming to lap 30 here, I think we're about to see some cars come down pit road. I think I heard one of the crew chiefs say about 5 until we pit, so it should be interesting.
The 30 car of Adam Burton, he's coming down right now. We're also going to see the number 99 car and the 88 car. Everybody's coming in. We have the 17s planning, the 30, the 88, and the 99 are all planning to pit this time. Here we go. We're going to watch the 30 car, come down pit road. He should take 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and guide him down pit road. It looks like he's going to come down at 45 miles an hour. Be very conservative here so he does not speed, and here he comes, 30 miles an hour. He's slowing down quite a bit.
He might be out of fuel. You gotta wonder, because his pit stop's all the way up at the
he blew up.
head of pit road.
I think we have he has an engine failure, I think.
He might be, yeah. I think he might have just blown his engine. Tough break for the number 30 car, and he's just trying to barely get in. We're not sure yet. We believe he's blown up.
And he's going to the garage area. He is in the garage area. Yeah, there's smoke coming out of that engine, and he's done. He's done.
You know what? It almost makes you wonder. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, it makes you wonder, because we saw him come into the pits rather briskly. You might think that during a downshift or something, he might have missed a gear and coming into the pits, because he didn't really start to slow down until he ducked off. So that's a shame for Adam.
As we see Kyle Young coming off of turn 2 here, trying to get back up to speed. Let's see how he gets through the gears here. See, he comes off of turn 2. He's going to merge right about there, about halfway down the back stretch, and he looks like he's going to come out and around position 5.
I think we got somebody down there. Adam, this is Dylan Steinkruger up in the booth. What happened out there?
Hey, it said you ran out of fuel.
And yeah, we just got word here that he did run out of fuel in his 30 monster car. But yeah, Kyle Young here, we got a battle for position on the racetrack, guys.
You know, that raises another question too. He might have had actually a fuel pickup issue. If he said there's something maybe wrong with the motor, these cars use something. A lot of teams use something called the Waterman system, and it's controlled by a cable. And once that breaks, the fuel intake ceases, and the engine obviously stops in turn. It's a safety mechanism that was put in a couple years ago, and a lot of teams use it, but it fails an awful lot. And I think that might have been what happened to the former leader of this race.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for him, as he had a good run going early. And see, these problems can come when you're under pressure in this series. And we see the 5th place car just went 1 lap down, Kyle Young, and his number 99, I don't know, Quack car. But you know, he's really fighting to stay on that lucky dog position. You know, he's really fighting.
Well, I have a feeling that if this goes green any longer, Steve Rada in the 88, he's going to be the first car a lap down, because the leaders are quickly approaching him, about a second a lap. And yeah, we didn't talk really too much about Dan Monroe in the 72. He's running second right now. He's about a half lap down. He's having a good run.
Alright, yeah, everybody's been they've been running well. I mean, there's been a lot of dark horses come out of here, some guys you haven't expected. Steve Rotter's running exceptionally well. Richie Riggs, who wasn't even supposed to be in this race, was he's a substitute driver for Sean Hansen. We're now going to go ahead and bring Triffin Davis from down in the Hollywood Hotel. He's going to give us a little running order of how they've been running after pits. Triffin?
Thanks, Shane Cougar. Well, Flyer's got a reasonable lead right now as he goes under Joe Conley. And following 13 seconds behind him is Dan Monroe. And following is Hayden Repez, Steve Rada, Kyle Young, who was a lap down, Neil Frolic, Speedy, Richie Riggs, who was 2 laps down, Conley, who was also 2 laps down, and Adam Burton out with no fuel, and DKRF, who retired after being spun on lap 1. Back to you, Sting.
Thank you, Triffin. So as these guys are getting going, if you're in Flyer's head, Steve Zabo, what are you gonna be thinking right now? Are you gonna try to pull more out of this and try to get a bigger lead, or just kind of gonna back it off, conserve your tires a little bit, and then just plow it at the end if they start catching it?
Well, if I were Brennan McGee right now, I've got almost a half a lap lead. What I would do, it would be to back down my pace just a little bit, so that I wouldn't be gaining or losing any ground to second place, Dan Monroe. I would try to preserve my tires a little bit, because obviously Dan Monroe's not quite as fast. A lot of that gap is probably because of the pit stop, but I would try to conserve my stuff a little bit. We're still not even halfway through this race. Just try to be easy with your tires. The biggest thing is don't mess up and wreck yourself, because that's also, as easy as this looks from the viewer's standpoint, it's actually pretty challenging to maintain this track, depending on what kind of a driver configuration you have on. So, or plus what kind of driver you are. So depending on the line he's taking, it could be a little more dangerous. So I'd try to just save my stuff now.
Yeah, so he just put the 4th place car of a lap down. It doesn't look like there's going to be any competition until we have a yellow here. We're only about 3 laps away from being halfway, and once we get halfway, I think these drivers are going to start driving it a little bit more into the corner and hoping that the car sticks, and then trying to reel in here, because if this goes caution free, it'll be no challenge to Flyer unless he has a late race, like misjudged entering pit road, or speeds, or a bad pit stop, or speeding, or anything like that. He just needs to not make any mistakes through the rest of this race, and he'll be fine, and probably be in victory lane after this race.
Alright, now we got Adam Burton down in the garage area. Adam Burton, he had a problem. We're not sure what it is officially, but we're going to go ahead and talk to him. Adam, do you guys, have your crew figured out what's happened to your car down there yet?
It was a fuel problem. I went down to turn 4, and they told me I had 1 more lap of fuel left. And I went down, and I just, no fuel. I couldn't make it to my pit stop. And I thought I blew up, because I said, "Are you alright?" So I was like, "Oh, I'm already blew." So I retired, and after I saw it was my fuel pickup, and I was like, "Oh, I could have waited."
Very unfortunate.
What'd you say, Taco?
I was just saying, it's a shame the 3 of us up here were pulling for you. We were watching you. You seemed like at the latter stage of that first run, you were getting a little tight coming off of 4 in particular. Were you, or was that just because you had pressure from behind?
Oh, I was getting real tight. So when I saw a Flyer come, I tried to save my tires. When I let them pass me, I just saved my tires, and I caught them back.
Yeah, it looked like it. It's a shame I'm pulling for you, but hey, there's next week, right?
Yeah, it's a shame that I had just a fuel problem. That's the worst. That's the worst time.
Well, it's a shame, and we thank you for joining us here after what happened. And looks like here on the racetrack we have 2 lap down cars yelling in our leader. Could they possibly get their lap back and come back and part of this race?
Well, Adam, we thank you for bringing us down here. We're going to take a short intermission. When we come back, we're going to have DKRF down here in the booth. He's going to be giving us a little summary of what happened to him. And we'd also like to thank some of our sponsors for the race. Fat Cake Incorporated, only approved by Kyle Young Motorsports, and Taco Bell. So we thank those sponsors, and we're going to go to a short break here, and we'll be right back.
And as we come back from that short intermission, it looks like we have a good battle here for these 2 cars trying to get back on the lead lap. Well, now, since we're only about halfway, as we did reach halfway during that short intermission, do you think these 2 cars will be let by? Do you think Flyer in the 94 is just going to let him by, Brandon McGee? Or do you think he's going to fight to keep him lapped down so that he doesn't have to compete with them later in the race if we get a late race yellow?
Well, chances are he's probably just going to let him by. I mean, you have to look at it as, wow, these guys really caught me pretty fast. I should probably let him by. Because I'm not so sure about Kyle Young, but Steve Rada, he doesn't usually mess around, and he might, you know, I personally would think, hey, is he going to turn me if I try to fight him? So, plus he's got over 40 laps left. There's really no point to be fighting lappers, and, you know, a couple more pit stops going to have to, you know, go through before the end of this race, so I'd let him by.
And it looks like he's going to actually shut the door on him as he tried to get to the bottom. I don't think he's going to do what you just mentioned there in your statement. But, you know, we're going to keep watching this short battle here. It looks like that 88 has dropped back from this 2-car battle up here. This is not for position if you guys think that it is. This is just to get back on the lead lap. And he really wants to. And Steve, there in that 88, he's praying that the 99 gets by so he can get the lucky dog, though. So it looks like we have a little lag with our camera there. Sorry about that. The 99 goes by him, and he looks like he's pulling him.
Yeah, you can see that coming, though.
Well, we just got done. One of our reporters just got done talking to DKRF. We got the report here. This is just kind of what he said. DK said he was really hyped for this race. He thought he had a great chance at winning it. They went down in turn 1, fine. Then turn 2, said he was low, and suddenly Connolly comes out of nowhere and just completely took him out. He said it just completely destroyed his engine. He couldn't compete. He said that he went back out there. We all saw him go back out there, and he had to pull back in. And he had some harsh words for Connolly out there. He said he wasn't sure if it was intentional or not. He said he did it. They had a little scruffle in practice, but he's not sure if it was intentional. We sure hope it was not. But DK, we're sure sorry up here that your race had to end so soon, and we hope for better luck for you next week.
Well, you could definitely see it was not an intentional wreck. Very clearly, Connolly just balled it off into turn 1 and 2 and drifted up a little too high. And, you know, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is a 1-lane track, and if you get out of that 1 lane on the very bottom, it's ridiculously hard to handle your car, be it tight or loose, depending on how high on the track you are. So there's no way that could have been intentional. He simply just spun it, kind of misestimated the grip level he was going to have up there, and it cost both of them.
And yeah, I've just been watching these past few laps. The 26 of Hayden Rapace. He's been making some progress there. He's been getting faster and faster for him. Not gaining on the leaders, but he was running 30.2s and 30.3s, and his last lap was a 29.878. That's not a bad lap since He is in third right now, so I think he'd probably I think he's hoping for a yellow to get 4 fresh tires here, because it looks like his car is really pushing up the track. He's really having to get down to a very slow speed in the corners before he can get back in the gas off of turn 2. It looks like it's just not really going for him right now, but he is in position 3. He stayed out of trouble, and he's making progress on 2 cars up front.
Yeah, I think everybody out here is really praying for a caution. It's tough. It's going to be tough for Dan to make up what is now a 13.8 second margin. That's next to impossible, I believe, to make up. So if you're Dan right now, Tacos, what are you thinking?
Well, right now I'm definitely praying for a yellow if I'm Dan. It's apparent that Flyer, since Adam is now falling out of the race, Adam Burton, it's apparent that McGee in the 94, he is now become the class of the field. You need a yellow. That'd be the great equalizer because everybody would get some tires. Then all I could really hope for is just a little bit of attrition. You know, McGee gets, you know, a little out of shape. You get by him. Something like that. It looks like the 71 car, that's Neil Froelich, he's going to hit the pits. He had been battling Sonny Tallman in 14 for quite a number of laps now for 6th place. And it looks like he burned his stuff up a little bit.
Yeah, as Froelich in the 71 comes down pit road, it looks like he's going to come in for 4 tires, and definitely a lot of fuel here. Now, there is a possibility if the leaders in these top 2, top 3 cars, even the top 4 who are still on the lead lap, if they can win this race on fuel mileage, pit window's around 35 to 40 laps here. We got 34 or 35 laps to go. It looks like, or actually, yeah, 34 to go. But you know, it's going to be a very tight race here when it comes down to fuel. I mean, if these guys can save enough fuel when it comes down to it, I think that they can really win this race on fuel, depending how much they save and the fuel mileage in these cars. So it's going to be interesting to watch that too.
Well, if I'm the leader right now, Brendan McGee, if I was him, I would actually pit relatively soon from now, and the reasoning behind that is he's pitting right now, and I believe the reason he's doing that is because he understands the fuel mileage situation, which Jeremy just mentioned. You can make it from here, and he's got a big enough lead that I don't think he's going to lose a lap. So if he can get out, conserve his stuff for the remaining 30 or so laps, I think we got 32 to go right now, then he could be in good shape because everybody else is going to have to make a late race pit stop, and he'll be good to go.
According to our monitor, I think he was actually speeding by a little bit there. I don't know if he'll get black flagged for it, but I think our monitor said he was going up to around 47 miles per hour there, somewhat down pit road. As the 72 comes into a stop, it looks like he's going to get in there pretty good, right behind the number 94, as the 94's away. Oh, he got off pit road nicely. We'll see if he gets black flagged here.
Jeremy, I looked at it. I don't think he will. He might have been just a nitch over 45 miles an hour, but remember, NASCAR gives you that 5 mile an hour grace period, so if he's below 50 miles an hour, he'll be good to go no matter what.
So, yeah, forgot about that 5 mile per hour grace period there for a second, but yeah, Dylan, what do you think about these green flag pit stops? Any strategy? 2 tires?
I think you got to come up with something here. You've got to do something strategically to get you up, and I think that the person you're going to see do it and who's going to try something, and if he's going to make it on fuel some way magically, I think it's going to be Hayden Rapaz in the number 26 car, because he somehow usually works his magic. But I think the bad part for that is I think everybody's going to be good on fuel right now, and I think it's going to. I don't think there's going to be, unless there's a caution, I don't think there's going to be anybody who's going to be able to catch Flyer.
Yeah, I agree with Dylan. I think this race, after Adam fell out of this race with that fuel pickup problem that we noted, I think this thing's pretty close to being over. We got less than 20, or about 29 laps to go, I believe, and I don't think anybody can catch him.
It looks like the 99's having a really slow pit on pit road. He's still sitting there.
The 99, that's Kyle Young. Looks like he finally gets off pit road now, and as these guys are getting in with their pitting, let's go to our spotlight drivers for each of us, and let's start out with all of our spotlights. That's Steve Rada. He's in the number 88 National Guard Young Motorsports car, and currently he's running in 4th position. Not too bad for him. He's actually doing pretty good. You see him there, he's coming off of turn 1 and 2, and they're heading down the backstretch. And these guys pick up a lot of speed as they go into these corners. What is it like going down to one of these corners, Tacos? Where do you think is the safest place to go when you're in Flyer's position?
Safest place to be is just try and separate yourself. If there's a couple cars in front or in back, don't push the issue. That pit stop that just occurred, Flyer actually ended up with a few more seconds advantage. I noticed he went from about 14 to about 16 and change. Best thing to do right now is just, if you run up on lap traffic, which obviously he's going to because there's a couple cars right in front of him and he's still got 25 laps to go, he will run into them. Don't push the issue though. Don't wreck yourself trying to get by cars that you're already ahead of. He's got half a lap lead. Just ride it out to the finish. If you get a yellow, you get a yellow. That's a different story. But as of now, you can't push it.
As it looks like we have a battle for 6th here between my spotlight driver, Kyle Young, and the 14 of Speedy. Well, you know, he's really been trying to reel in Kyle Young here in the past few laps I've watched, as he's running about the same lap times as my spotlight driver, Kyle Young. But, you know, it's really been tight between lap times for these top 3 drivers that are still trying to stay on the lead lap. But that 14's really, I think he got a little bit loose in that corner, but, you know, it's really been a tight race in lap times, not in positioning and stuff. But how about Steve's spotlight driver?
Yeah, my spotlight driver, ironically, was Sonny Tallman in the 14 car. In fact, I'm actually watching his chase camera right now, and it looks like he's actually progressing a little bit throughout this race. He didn't get much practice, and we tried to work on lines before I had to withdraw my 66 car. He and I were teammates. He owns my car, as well as the 14, so that's my car owner there. He's currently running 7th. He's the last car 1 lap down, and the 2 cars that are still running that are scored behind him are both 4 laps down. So if he can maintain here, I believe the worst he can finish is 7th. Sonny's been one of the more underrated drivers of Full Throttle Racing. He is in the Pro Series, granted, which is a huge accomplishment for him. But there was a league that he and I raced at called Open Speedway. He and I were teammates there. Well, they didn't really have teams there, but we used to be allies. Racing with him for a number of seasons now. It's great to see him having a good run. He looks like he could very well get P6 or maybe even P5 because Neil Froelich is not that far ahead of these guys.
Let's see if we can contact Triffin Davis here for the stats, like the current positioning out there on the track. Triffin, you got us?
Yes, but it seems like Stan Cougar wants to do his spotlight driver. Then I'll.
Oh, I think Triffin. Sorry for that little bit of miscommunication there. But my spotlight driver is Hayden Rapos. He's just trying to stay ahead of Flyer 2359, who's your leader. He's hanging in there. He's running in 3rd place. This is very good. He's been doing a great job all race. He's been running a good line. It's just doesn't quite have the line that Flyer and Dan do. But he's been trucking this entire race, and I think he's gonna have a pretty good finish. And I think that if there's a caution, I think he's gonna be a force to be dealt with in those closing laps. Now we send it up to Triffin Davis. Go ahead, Tristan.
Hey, Stan Cougar. Well, Flyer 2359 is running an average speed of about 175 miles an hour whenever he crosses the line. And so, Dan Monroe is catching him a little bit. He must be running a little bit faster because Monroe is 15 seconds behind. And obviously, as you can probably see, Hayden's 28 seconds behind, which is about 2 seconds ahead of Flyer. And now we start with the lap down cars. Steve Rada in fourth is a lap down. Neil Frolic, Kyle Young, and Speedy. There are two 4 lap down cars. There's Richie Riggs in the 17, and there's Joe Conley. And just like before, Adam Burton with no fuel, and then DK, who was involved in that lap 1 incident. Back to you, Stinker.
Thank you, Triffin. So now I'm gonna give this to Jeremy and Steve. Who do you guys believe has been the most surprising? You know, there's been Dan Monroe. You know, he's the quiet guy.
Caution's out, caution's out, caution's out.
We have a yellow. We got a big wreck here on the backstretch. He's on the inside. And finally, our first yellow of the day will go. And this will very bunch things up here. As we did talk about it. All three of us talked about a late race yellow. And this definitely will put this into the category of a good finish. And I think we'll see everybody on pit road. What about you, Steve?
Oh, absolutely. This is exactly what we were talking about. How these drivers just had to take it easy and pray for this lucky break. Looking back at the crash, though, it looks like, amazingly enough, I believe Joe Connolly in the 5 did the same thing that he did back on the first lap of the race. Just this time, instead of spinning down to the apron, he spun directly in front of looks like Kyle Young, a near miss.
You got to give credit to Kyle Young. We're gonna give him the Good Hand Safety Award. That was a great driving on his part. He had to get on the brake hard there, and he's lucky to have gotten through that.
And it looks like we'll see Flyer come down pit road here in that 94 car as he comes all the way down at pit road speed. He's got to be very careful on the speed, although he has a very big gap between the next car down pit road. As you see, he works his way very carefully down pit road. He wants to get in a stop perfectly. He doesn't want any mistakes, even though there's nobody else on pit road behind him. That or he's even close if there's anyone. But he's got to still. This crew wants to keep up the fast pace to make sure if there is another late race caution that there will be pumped up and ready to do it. That pit crew does not need to make a mistake here as he leaves pit road.
Alright, now we got our N-Race reporter in here, Steve Rada. It looks like you're getting your lap back here, or you should be getting your lap back here. So how's this long run been affecting the car and your mentally driving? What have you been thinking about going through this entire...
Saving a little bit of fuel, not wearing out the tires that much, and try and fight back up with the leaders, get my lap back, and thank God I got the caution. I'm happy.
Alright, yeah. So what's your plan when you come back? You're gonna be on the lap, so what's your plan?
Probably help my teammate get up there. Dan Moreau, I'm going to help him get up there. Me and him work together.
Hey guys, don't look now, but after that round of pit stops, Dan in the 72 has been able to get by Flyer. So we're gonna have a new leader at the start here.
Did he actually pit? Did he pit? I didn't see him come down pit road.
Maybe he did. That's an interesting move. Maybe he'll pit later on. But anyway, Steve, congrats on the lucky dog. You been happy with the way this race has gone today? You happy with your performance?
Been a little bit pain in the ass. How the race been going? Green flag runs the whole entire way. That's kind of good, but hey, finally we get a break.
Alright, well, thank you, Steve, for coming down here, and thank you for being our N-Race reporter in case we don't get back to you here in these final laps. And we wish you good luck in the rest of the race.
Yep, thank you.
Well, as we continue here, I'd like to mention something that hasn't really been mentioned here. But, you know, I saw Kyle Young come down pit road. Oh, something just happened there. But our monitor's losing him on our 3D monitor, but I've seen him run a little bit of a high line before that round of pit stops, before that yellow came out. He's really run up by the outside wall for a few laps, but then after that pit road, it'll be interesting to see what line he's going to choose.
Alright, and before we go green, we're going to get one more person in here, and we have Hayden Rapos, who, as you guys heard earlier, is my spotlight driver for tonight. Hayden, how have you been, or now you're going to be back on the lead lap. I think you have a great shot here at the leaders. What's your plan going in here real quickly before we get the green flag?
I don't really know right now. Our car is really good after 10 laps, which means we'll probably have about 6 laps when we have a good car, but the first 5-10 laps the car's not very good. So I think I'm just going to try to stay in the draft here and wait for the car to get really good and then watch that last 2-3 laps, because that's when we'll probably start making our move and try to pass these guys.
Alright, we're going to throw you back up there, Hayden.
Wait,
Coming down.
can I say something? Go get him.
Thank you.
Good luck, Hayden. Hopefully we'll see you at the end.
Well, guys, it's been a good race so far. It looks like we're going to have a good racer coming to the restart. It looks like the 72 is going to control the restart here, and he's going to pull him away here. Hopefully, I'm rooting for these guys that are still on the lead lap.
It looks like that inside got a really slow start. That allows the 72 to pull away. This is going to be a great race. We were all expecting Flyer to whoop butt, and he was the planned winner. And now you see him, he's going to go down below Dan Monroe. And we're going to see if that high lane now, this is what we were talking about early in the race, that high lane's going to get a run.
You see, here he goes. Excuse me. The 72 really, he really needs to be aggressive here. He did not pit, I do not believe, and he's really trying to stick there, but it looks like the 94 is just pulling through the corners, and so that 26 is going to challenge.
Yeah, there's Hayden. He's going to try it. He needs to get past Dan Monroe there. He's going to do it there, I believe, coming out of the corner. You see Steve Roddy behind him. He slide up, and those lap down because they're racing hard back there. Now Hayden needs to pull out somehow and get up there and try to be able to fight with Flyer, but he doesn't want to overrun the corners. You see, he kind of slid up there. Hope that doesn't hurt him. I think Steve Rodda might be able to get up underneath him.
Yeah, that's going to be... Oh, and there he goes to the inside. He's going to really make that inside work, and he's going to dive it there. He hits the apron trying to make the pass, but he won't make it. Here comes the 26 to 3 and 4. That 94 of Flyers really just pulling away here. Steve, do you think he can make a late race charge at the 94?
Well, I don't know about that, but I do know for sure that the 72 not pitting was a big mistake. You can already see there are 4 cars in the lead lap in this race after Steve Raddick got the lucky dog, and after just 2 laps, he's already in 4th, and with much older tires. So unless he can get a quickie yellow here and get some fresh tires before the end of this race, I think his fate was sealed before that restart. So yeah, it was great to lead the race, but I think if he had any chance of coming back and winning this race, he lost it by not pitting. However, I am liking this battle between the 88 and the 26. The 88 is really, really strong in these restarts.
We've seen this in the past here in many series. As they've drafted up to him before, and earlier races in the FTR League. But you know, it's going to be very controversial here, I think, between the 2nd and 3rd car. I think the 26 is really upset right now that he's got a car behind him. He doesn't want to battle. He wants to be able to just have him clean air and maybe work up. But maybe, oh no, it doesn't look like that's going to be any help to the 26 as the 88 slides inside of him.
Whoa.
On the last lap, yeah, they get together there. 26 ran his fastest lap all race, but it isn't going to matter because Steve Rodda's run way faster laps. On that last lap, Steve Rodda ran at 29.031, which he might be the car to contend with now. He's going to pull away from Hayden, but he overdrove the corner now. These guys are just overdriving the corner, and if you get in there patiently, they need to run laps that are just a little bit quicker, and I think they're out of time now. If there's a caution, unless Flyer messes up, I think the race is over. I think Flyer has won this race unless these guys decide they get a speed boost or Flyer completely messes up.
You know what would be absolutely hilarious is if the 88 and the 26 get into some trouble and wreck each other, and it brings out a yellow. And they were able to get by on the restart. But now that I say that, I see that we only have 4 laps left, and if I believe now if the yellow came out, this race would be over. So if they want to have any chance, they need this thing to go green. Oh, and 26 just drifted right into the bumper of the 88, it looked like, or the 88 drifted up too. I think it was a combination between the two. It was almost an incident in turn 3.
Yeah, it does not look like it's looking too good for anybody else except the 94 Flyer. He's coming here to take the 2 to go signal, I believe, and you know, he's got an entire backstretch lead, and obviously that's not gonna help anybody else but him. So as they continue to battle for 2nd and 3rd on back there, we're gonna watch this final few laps with the 94.
Yep, there's 2 laps to go now, and I don't think there's any competition for Flyer, and I think that he's going to be able to pull a win out here, and that should really help point standings. With Tyler Scaryhead not being here, he's the points leader by 45 points over Hayden Rayfus. Hayden really needs to get up there and battle with Steve Roddy, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it as he gets the white flag.
1 to go here, and I thank you guys for let me sit in the booth with you to broadcast this race with you guys and commentate. But you know, it's been great working with you too. And as you see, Flyer comes off of turn 2 here. He's got no competition. He is the class of the field, and he has been all day until unless the 30 was here. He blew up earlier, ran out of fuel. I apologize. Here he comes out of turn 4, and he's gonna win here at Las Vegas. He rolled the dice, and he got the best numbers you could get, and you know he's gonna win it.
Flyer 2359 and the number 94 Budweiser car of Head Enterprise. He's going to be your winner, and he's going to be the winner of the Sin City or Las Vegas race. We're going to try to get a word in here with the top 3 drivers, I believe, and there's him. He's going to get a burnout. Pulls down, and he loves these wins. I know he's one of those guys that really appreciates these wins because you never know when you're going to get them.
You see he's doing the burn. He's going to blow it up. Let's see if we can get our 3rd place finisher in here.
Yep, Hayden Rapos. Let me see if we can get him.